Hello everyone, welcome to Arduino and My Robot. This is chapter 12, and in this chapter we'll be learning about loop. So what is loop? When you see this girl and the ring around her, that ring is basically called as hula loop. So what she's doing is she's going to rotate it around her waist round and round. She's doing this process again and again. So the reason I'm trying to give this example is to understand the loop basically means something that is getting repeated again and again, something which you do again and again. And any task, as you remember in last time, in last video or session which we did was we had two functions. One was void setup, another was for the looping part. So we wrote all the things in that part which is to be repeated again and again. So we do looping for those things where we need a repetition. Let's understand this with this example. What happens is you get up early in the morning, you get ready, you do your brush and all those things, and then you go to school. After that, school gets over, you come back home, you play with your friends, then you have dinner, and then you sleep. And the next morning, again, you repeat the same process. And this process keeps on repeating. Okay. So if anything that keeps on repeating, then we say that it is a loop, as we can see it in this example. So why do we need it and where are these things used? Okay, let's understand it with a one basic example. Suppose you need to blink your light on and off on Diwali. How will you do that? When I say on and off, means you are going to repeat this process. You want your light first to turn on, then off, then turn on, then off. So this is a continuous repetition of turning on and off. So this is a one basic example where you will be needing it in your circuit or in your LED bulb. Okay. So let's understand it by coding. So suppose I want to print my name 10 times or 20 times or 300 times, any number of times. Okay. How to do that? So void setup. In this, we are going to write only that thing which is required to be run only one time. So I have written serial.begin 9600. If you remember from last lecture, this line is written whenever we want to communicate with Arduino or our system. Then we have void loop. As we already told, loop is that part where we want to repeat anything. So I wrote serial.println. So println means ln means line change and print means to print. Every time a message is getting printed, change the line. And serial is just an information for the system or the Arduino that this is a communication. That is, this is going to be printed on the output screen. Okay. So now I have written it void loop and this is going to repeat every single time. Okay. There is no end to that. So it will print in unlimited of time or infinite number of times. Okay, so since I have put it in loop and there is no end to it, so it is called an infinite loop. That means our name will be printing multiple times without any stopping. But what happens if I want to print it for a limited number of times? Let's say just three number of times. What can I do? So there are two ways. First way is I will write the same statement serial.println in setup block. Why in setup block? Because in setup block it will read or print or do any job just one time. So the first line of code is serial.begin 9600. That means a communication is to be established between user and the system. Second line, third line, and fourth line, all three lines are telling me that print this name three times. Okay. And you see this double slash. What will happen if I use print? So this double slash is a method of writing comment. Comment will not be read by the programmer. Sorry, the Arduino board. It will be only read by the programmer. Why do we write comment? Comment we write for ease of coding. Suppose I have written a long code, or in my code there are more than 10,000 number of lines, so that if I do not forget for what purpose I have written this particular code, I give a comment on that. Okay. So comment is basically for the programmer or the one who is writing the code. But comment will not be read by the board or the Arduino or the system in any language. Comment will be ignored. Okay. Now you see I have not written anything in void loop because I am not going to repeat anything. But here you see writing it for 3 times is it's easier. I can just copy paste that for 2 times. But what if I want to write it for 50 times or 100 times? Is it feasible or will it be good enough to write 100 lines, same line 100 times? No, there is another way. So as I said, there are two ways. If very less number of times we have to do it, we can like 1 time, 2 times, 3 times max to max, you can put in setup. It's good to put in setup. But if you want to get it repeated multiple number of times, and that too, if you want it to be of n number of times, you know how many number of times, or if you want to make a condition like if this condition is true, print this name 10 times. If my age is less than 18, print my name 20 times. If my age is above 18 and between 20, print my name 30 times. So even on the basis of conditions, I can use a command or a function that is called as for. So for loop is a function that we'll be using for printing any number of times. Now let's understand the syntax for the for. Before moving further ahead, let me tell you this syntax is common for any language. Most of the not, I will not say like any language, but most of the language use this for function, and the syntax is more or less same. The same syntax you can find in Java, but it is little bit different in Python, C, and C++. But moreover, the idea remains same. Whatever language you are going to do is, it's the idea, basic idea remains the same. Okay. Now let's understand how to do that. For looping anything, you have to write for, then a parenthesis, open and close. Inside that, I am writing an initial point, means from where it will be initializing. So int I is equals to 1. Int means integer. I mean is a variable in which I am storing a value 1. That means the counting will start from 1 and semicolon I less than 50. That means this is a conditional statement. Okay. This can be less than or less than equal to or greater than equal to. And this exclamation equals to means not equal to. So this is a condition. First is initialization. Then second is condition. So I will tell starting from 1 up to what number I should increase the I or decrease the I. So I should run or this loop will run or this loop will be running up to how many number of times? 49 times because I is less than 50. The what numbers comes less than 50 is 49 and integer means either positive or negative whole numbers and then semicolon. Then last comes increment or decrement. It's I plus plus or minus minus. If I've written plus plus, it means I is equals to I plus 1. If I have written I minus minus, it means I is equals to I minus 1. So this green part is called as increment or decrement operator. And this middle section is called condition. And first one is called initialization. Then we have a curly bracket here, opening and closing. Whatever thing we want to repeat will be written inside this curly bracket. So this inside part is called as body. And here I have written a comment body for looping. Anything written here will be repeated. Now let's understand it by an example. So in the previous example, I wanted to print my name for 50 times. So I have written for int I is equals to 1, I less than equals to 50 because from 1 to 50, that means I have to include 50, I plus plus. So first I is equals to 1. Now then condition, it will check if value of I is less than equals to 50. Yes, since I is 1, it is now less than 50. Then we will go inside this, going inside the bracket. What it is written, serial.println means print this line. So my name will be printed here. Now the next line is a curly bracket closing. So it will go back to the line where it was starting. just one line above that. So again, above that is for loop. In that, I plus plus has happened. I plus plus means now I value has changed to 2. Now again the condition will be checked. If 2 is less than equals to 50, yes, that's true. Then again it will go inside the bracket and print the name. Then again it will go back. Now since I plus plus was there, I has become 3. Now again I will check if I is less than 50, yani that is 3 is less than 50. Again my name will be printed. Now let's go back to 50. Like that, it will be printing for 50 times. Now 50th time my name will be printed. Now it will go back. Now since it is I plus plus, it will become 51. Now we'll check in the condition 51 less than equals to 50. No, that is not true. When the condition gets false, then we will not go inside this for loop. We'll go to the end. That is outside of this bracket. Now this body will not be read since our condition has become false. So this for loop will only run that many number of times until we have this condition, central condition part is true. Okay. Now we have written it less than equals to 50, it will only print 50 names. So that was how we will be printing our name 50 times. Now let me ask you a question, and basically it's an trial thing and it's an homework for you. What will happen if I write this for loop part inside this void loop part? If I write here, what is going to happen? Just think. One hint is that it will be an infinite loop, but why? Just think about it and you can send your comments or answers to me. But I'll be very happy if you can exactly find out why this will be an infinite number of times. Okay, so I have already written that code for you. As I said, this will be an infinite number of time, infinite loop. But idea is why. You have to think about that. Okay, so I have written I plus plus. Let me also show you how I can use I minus minus. So I plus plus means if I value is 1 and I want to go up to 50. So what I have to do is increase the value of I from 1 to 2, 3, 4 up to 50. What if I start counting from 50? If I start counting from 50 and to print my name 50 times, I will have to decrease the value of 50. So that is why we have used minus minus. And for that condition will become I is greater than equals to 1. That is decrease the value of 50 until and unless I value becomes 1. Okay, that is another way of writing for loop. This is using increment operator and this is using decrement operator. Now this loop will print my name 50 times. But here I have written infinite loop. Why? Just think about it and give me your answers. And that was all for today. Thank you so much.